Welcome to the Explainer. So, have you ever stood there staring at a departure board, watching your flight status flip to canceled, and just felt that immediate sinking feeling in your stomach? It's brutal, right? It's not just your travel plans going up in smoke, it's literally money draining right out of your wallet. But what if I told you that you don't have to just roll over and accept a standard ticket refund? Today, we are transforming that frustration into a serious payout. This explainer is your ultimate survival guide to fighting back and getting the absolute maximum compensation when an airline cancels your flight. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the chronological roadmap we're taking today, going straight from that incredibly stressful moment at the airport terminal to actually getting cash in your bank account. We're covering 1. Knowing your passenger rights. 2. Documenting your evidence. 3. Qualifying for compensation. 4. Calculating maximum payouts. And 5. Filing and escalating those claims.
Starting right off with Section 1, Know Your Passenger Rights. So the very first thing you need to realize is that the geographical rules of the game really matter. Where you're flying from, and sometimes where you're flying to, completely dictates your legal protections. Basically, there are 3 major jurisdictions you'll probably run into. First, the EU. Under their super strict EU 261 rules, you're looking at fixed monetary compensation of up to €600 based on flight distance, plus mandatory care provisions like meals and hotel rooms. Honestly, it's the gold standard. Contrast that with the US Department of Transportation, or DOT. Their focus is really just on getting you a prompt, full refund to your original payment method within 7 business days. There's absolutely no mandate for monetary compensation beyond that, although airlines might voluntarily throw some vouchers your way. Then you've got Canada's APPR, which is kind of a middle ground. It operates on strict tiers offering up to $1,000 Canadian alongside those care provisions. Knowing exactly which of these applies to your ticket is step 1.
Moving right along to Section 2, Documenting Your Evidence. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the concept of the golden hour. This is that exact moment your flight gets canceled and the clock immediately starts ticking. Listen, your smartphone is no longer just for mindlessly scrolling, it is your absolute best evidence-gathering tool. The second that cancellation or massive delay hits, you are on an active evidence-gathering mission. Seriously, don't panic, document. What you do right now on your phone is exactly what's going to force the airline to pay up months down the line.
Let's walk through your immediate urgent actions. Step 1. Snap photos of that departure board showing your flight is canceled. Get a couple of different angles just to make sure it's fully readable. Step 2. Record your conversations with the airline staff. Now, only do this if it's legally permitted where you are, and always inform them that you're recording. If you can't record, just take incredibly detailed written notes. Step 3. Request a formal written explanation for the cancellation. You absolutely need this reliable written evidence because it strongly counters the totally conflicting verbal excuses an overwhelmed gate agent might accidentally or purposefully give you.
Okay, to make this super clear and build a totally bulletproof case, here is your definitive list of essential items to photograph and save. Think of this as your rule of 3 for documentation: visuals, receipts, and communications. You need your original booking confirmations and e-tickets. You absolutely need those time-stamped photos of date changes or displays, plus any printed paper notices they hand out at the terminal. And crucially, save every single receipt. I mean it. Meals and refreshments, hotel and accommodation bills, ground transportation or taxi receipts, and hey, even international roaming or Wi-Fi charges if you had to use them to rebook. A quick pro tip: store digital copies of these immediately in the cloud, because paper receipts fade over time, and you definitely do not want to miss out on recovering these exact expenses.
Now, you gotta know that airlines play games with terminology, so you need to know the massive difference between a delay and a cancellation. A delay simply means the flight still operates, just later than scheduled. But a cancellation, that's when the original flight doesn't operate at all. Or, and this is key, the airline significantly changes your departure time by 3 or more hours, or they completely change your flight number. Airlines might try to gaslight you and call a massive disruption a schedule change or a delay just to dodge payouts. But knowing this legal distinction protects your wallet because a cancellation often triggers way higher compensation regardless of how fast they manage to rebook you. So, the crucial point here is understanding the excuses airlines use. They will absolutely try to legally dodge compensation by claiming extraordinary circumstances. Now, true extraordinary circumstances are things like severe weather, air traffic control strikes, security threats, or natural disasters. Fair enough. But airline-controlled issues, things like crew shortages, maintenance issues, technical problems, or their own staff going on strike, those legally trigger a payout. Be incredibly skeptical if an airline uses vague terms like operational reasons, because 9 times out of 10, those are just masks for compensable, airline-controlled screw-ups.
And that brings us to Section 3, qualifying for compensation.
So it's not just about why the flight was canceled, but exactly when you found out about it. Advance notice rules, especially under EU 261 and the Canadian APPR, completely dictate the financial stakes here. If you get 14 or more days' notice, you are generally out of luck for extra cash. You're only entitled to rebooking or a refund. If they give you 7 to 14 days' notice, you get compensation unless they can magically get you on an alternate flight that is super close to your original time. But if you get under 7 days' notice, like say while you're literally standing at the airport with your bags, you are looking at the full compensation package plus those care provisions.
All right, let's shift gears from the stress of the airport terminal to the triumph of Section 4, calculating maximum payouts.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole point. 600 euros. Under EU 261 regulations, if your non-EU flight is over 3,500 kilometers and qualifies, this is the maximum fixed payout per passenger. I mean, think about it. If you're traveling as a family of 4, that's 2,400 euros just for the disruption itself. That's huge.
But listen, that base compensation is just the starting line. To really maximize your claim, you need to meticulously tally up all your out-of-pocket expenses. This is exactly where all those receipts you saved during the golden hour come into play. Airlines are on the hook for reasonable meals. Mid-range hotels, you can usually budget around 100 to 150 euros a night in most European cities for that, and alternative transport, like your airport shuttles or taxis.
And it goes beyond just basic meals and beds. There are actually cascading costs you can claim. We're talking alternate flights you had to buy on different carriers if your original airline couldn't rebook you promptly. You can claim mileage reimbursement for driving to alternate airports, and even those extended international phone calls to customer service. And here's a wild, surprising fact for you. Airlines can actually be liable for missed downstream connections. Yeah, if you have the documentation and can prove reasonable foreseeability, which basically means you let them know about your tight connection or important event when you booked, you can even claim non-refundable event tickets. We're talking missed concerts, weddings, or even missed cruise departures. It's crazy, right?
Okay, let's move to Section 5, filing and escalating claims, and see how this all builds into our final attack plan.
Because gathering the evidence is one thing, but now we actually have to corner the airline into paying up. Here is your strategic escalation path. Step 1, call the airline directly first. You want to create a sense of urgency. Step 2, submit their official airline compensation web forms. And this is exactly where you attach all that specific photo evidence and documentation you gathered during the golden hour. Hit them with the facts. Step 3, set firm, written deadlines for their response. Give them 14 to 30 days and explicitly let them know you are tracking the clock. Step 4, if they ignore you or deny a totally valid claim, do not back down. Escalate immediately to aviation authorities like the DOT or the Civil Aviation Authority, or even take them to small claims court. Providing that ironclad evidence is exactly what forces their hand here.
Here is a quote that perfectly sums up the harsh reality. Airlines often drag their feet on compensation claims, hoping passengers will give up or forget. Combat this by setting clear deadlines. You absolutely have to stay persistent. Do not accept the first no from a customer service rep. And hey, if they completely ignore you, you can always utilize credit card chargebacks under services not rendered, or even engage third-party claims services to just fight the battle for you.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Your flight was canceled. Are you really going to let them keep your money? Look, a travel disruption might have completely ruined your immediate plans, but it absolutely does not have to cost you money if you know the rules. Armed with this explainer, you are now completely empowered to fight for every single dollar you're entitled to the next time you fly. Thanks for learning with us, and safe travels out there.